What's up guys, Static here with another Minecraft tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build this god-awful looking contraption in front of me, which is the new version of my Smurf, playfully nicknamed the Smerfette. For those of you who aren't aware what a Smurf is, essentially it's just a factory or farm for mass producing seeds and flowers and roses. Now I've had to redesign the farm for two reasons. The first is that in Minecraft 1.3.1 or 2, I think, the game was changed so that when you spam bone meal on grass block, if it's in pitch black or if it's not lit enough, grass and flowers will not grow. It used to be that you could still use bone meal on grass even though it was pitch black, and the grass and flowers would break out of the ground. And the second change is that now, even if you get grass and flowers to grow on a grass block, if you make the area pitch black, the grass and flowers don't instantly pop out of the ground anymore. They now wait for Minecraft to either check the block and do like a random block update, or they wait until there's a block update nearby. So I could update these the grass and the flower by either flicking this lever, which would power this block, or as you can see the game can automatically do it. Or what we can do is, if we turn off this light here, turning off the light constitutes a block update, which will then also break out the grass and the flower. So what this means is that to get the Smurf to work in 1.3 onwards, you need to alternate between states of light and dark. So as you can see, by default the grow room up here is lit, and this will allow grass and flowers to grow. And then when the grass and flowers grow, the room needs to automatically go dark, cause a block update, and then light back up again. And the way that Smerfette does this is that up here we've got a redstone lamp bud. And so what happens is when the grass grows down below, it updates this redstone lamp, which triggers the circuitry up here, which I'll show you how to build in a moment. Which makes the room dark, causes a block update, pops out all the grass and flowers, and then you're good to go again. There are two drawbacks to this design though when compared to the two original Smurf designs. The first is that the design is a little bit slower than the original designs, not quite as user friendly. In the original designs you could simply stand below here and hold down the right mouse button to spam bone meal at that dirt floor. You can't do that anymore for a couple of reasons. The first is that occasionally the bud mechanism will jam up if you do that, and also the bud mechanism doesn't alternate between light and dark at the same rate that you can spam bone meal if you hold down right click, meaning that you'll end up wasting bone meal if you just hold down right click. The second reason is that the second drawback is that the farm isn't quite as efficient as the original Smurf design. And what I mean by that is that it doesn't get the same rates. And the reason for that is that, as you can see, when you grow a room of grass and flowers, not all of the grass and flowers will be right next to a grass or flower block. So for example, if we grow like here, you can see that between this grass block and this one there's a gap, and that means that sometimes when these grass blocks here pop out, this one might not be updated and therefore might not pop out. That being said though, when you keep spamming bone meal, the problem does sort itself out eventually. But what this essentially means is that you don't get quite as high rates as you would have in the original farm. That being said though, the rates in Smerfette are pretty decent, so long as you get the timing of clicking down here right. You can see if you click too early, like if I really spam, occasionally it skips a beat. And if you click too slow, obviously it's not going to produce the seeds and flowers as quickly as you want it to. But so all you need to do is, as I mentioned, just sit here spamming bone meal, and then we're going to walk onto this pressure plate back here, and what this is going to do is activate these dispensers, and as you can see they let out a bunch of water. That'll funnel the seeds and flowers to the front. Once we're reasonably sure that the flowers and seeds have been funneled to that front section there, simply step on this pressure plate, and they're delivered to you. So as you can see, rates aren't quite as good as they used to be, but they're still not bad. One final consideration with the Smurf farms is that, as you can see, when using the water streams at the back, occasionally you do kill a grass block or two. The damage isn't too bad if you only run the water very briefly. I did run it a little bit longer than I needed to that time. However, that grass will grow back, so it's not really such a big issue. And finally, before we jump into the tutorial proper, I just wanted to give a couple of really quick shout-outs. The first is to Keydra84. When I was trying to come up with new designs for the Smurf that would actually work in 1.3.2, he talked me through a couple of his ideas, which were along the same lines of what I was thinking, but he did give me a couple of new ideas as well, so thank you very much for that. He also came up with a couple of different Smurf designs himself, so be sure to check out his channel and see what he came up with. And the second shout out goes to Nice Mark MC, who came up with the design for this redstone lamp bud that I've used in Smerfette. Alright guys, so let's start building. So the first thing we'll want to build is the grow room. So the grass and the encasement around that. That'll sort of give us an idea of where we want to take the rest of the farm. So the way I generally do this is we want at least 2 blocks space under the farm where we can walk around. And so we want our grass on the next level above that. So I'll generally make a 3 block high tower. And then we're going to make our grass layer. Now, I personally like to make this 5x5 for a couple of reasons. The first is that by having an odd number along the side here, it means that you can funnel the seeds and flowers back to a single block and just drop them down a 1 block wide hole. And the second reason is that when you use bone meal on the ground, which I'll just quickly do, most of the grass that grows within a 5x5 area, and then you occasionally get some little stragglers and stuff outside, but we're only concerned with the main bulk of the grass and flowers. So as I said, I like to make a 5x5, and once we've done that, just for the sake of symmetry, I'm going to make the legs on all four corners, just like so. And the next thing we want to do is just build a case around the grass. Now you want to do that on all 4 sides, and you also want to build a roof over the top. However, make sure when you're building the roof that you leave yourself a couple of holes for the light to come down through, otherwise the grass in the top here will start dying before you even begin building your farm. The next step, once we've got our grow room complete, is to make the redstone lamp bud switch on top of the farm. And so the way that we do this is that directly in the center of the roof, you want to punch a hole and replace that with your redstone lamp. On top of the redstone lamp, facing off to one of the sides, you want to place yourself a sticky piston with a block in front of it. And you want to run some current into that block using redstone dust on this side and a redstone repeater on this side. The redstone repeater is then going to send current into these 2 blocks with the redstone dust on top, which is going to power a piston that will push this detector rail, like so. Make sure you use a sticky piston here. And as you can see, that does make a clock, but we'll fix that in a moment. So you place solid blocks on top of the pistons, just like so. And then run some redstone onto the top of there and a repeater on top, and then that stops the annoying redstone clock. Then on this side over here, you want to place another 2 solid blocks, redstone dust, and then a powered rail down here. And that's our redstone lamp bud switch complete. Just to quickly run you through how this redstone bud switch works. At the moment, nothing here is powered. As you can see, this piston here is retracted, which means that the detector rail is not under the minecart powering anything. And the only power is coming from this torch, which is going into the piston arm, which does not power anything either. The reason this piston is extended and this redstone lamp here is powered is that both of them are in a block update situation. The piston is put into a block update situation by this repeater and block here, and the redstone lamp is put into a block update position because of the detector rail and minecart. When the piston pulls away the detector rail from underneath the minecart, the lamp doesn't realize that it's no longer receiving power. So when we update the lamp by growing a grass block underneath it, the lamp turns off, which updates the piston, which will then pull this block back, which sends power through this repeater, which pushes this piston out, which allows the detector rail to slide underneath the minecart and once again power the redstone lamp here. The piston is also put into a block update detector situation, as we mentioned before, and even though the detector rail and minecart are powering the redstone lamp will still be in an off state until we update it, and that is done by powering this powered rail here. And that's the redstone lamp bud switch in a nutshell. I hope that made sense. With our redstone lamp bud switch in place, providing light to the grow room below, we can now fill in the corners of the roof since we don't need them open anymore, and we can start to work on the flushing system. So the system that pushes the seeds and flowers out of the farm into our collection area. And so the way we want to do this to start off with, or the way that I like to do this, is we knock out these two back blocks here, so not quite in the corner of the farm, obviously, but just in the corners of the grow room. And you want to place the dispensers facing in towards the farm, just like so. So this is probably going to be a little bit disorienting. And we'll, of course, just replace those grass blocks. And now what we want to get these dispensers to do is when we step on a pressure plate, as you can see over here, we want them to flush the water through the system when we're standing on the pressure plate, and to remove the water when we step off the pressure plate. Now dispensers won't do this naturally, so if we just ran wire up from a pressure plate to the dispensers, when they received power, they would send out the water, but when you stepped off the pressure plate, the water would keep flowing unless you stepped back onto the pressure plate, which is not what we want. To get them to do what we want, all you need to do, very simple, is just place a redstone torch underneath each one. We're going to place a block behind each one as well. And then we're going to, and this is going to be a little bit difficult to do from the top down, we're going to place a kind of a checker pattern of upside down half slabs. And the reason we're going to do this is that upside down half slabs, you can place redstone on top of them, but you can sort of make this kind of checker pattern and the redstone will travel up them like vertical wiring. It's a very compact way of doing the vertical wiring, and if we had to do this up a long ways, it'd be instant. So, and it looks kind of pretty. Now I also like to do it on both sides down the bottom here just for symmetry, but theoretically you could just do the one bottom slab down here. Like I said though, I'm just going to do it just because I like the way it looks, and same here, just to make the thing look nice. And so all we've got to do now for the system up the back is place a stone pressure plate down here. You can use wood if you don't have smooth stone handy, and then just run the redstone up like so, and chuck our buckets of water into the dispensers. And so what should happen now, fingers crossed, we step on the pressure plate, water goes out, step off the pressure plate, and the water should recede. And you know it's working not only just by the drips here, but you can hear the redstone lamp block update detector going off on top as well. Now once that's done, that's going to funnel all of the flowers and seeds to this block here, and so this is where we want to make our collection area. And so what I like to do is make just a tube kind of thing up the back here, which will funnel the seeds and flowers down. And we need to make sure that when this farm isn't in use, or when we're not trying to collect seeds and flowers, this needs to be closed. And the reason for that is that for those grass and flower blocks to pop out of the ground, they need to be in complete darkness when they get updated. And if we have this open, there's going to be light getting up into the farm, and that will hinder the or stop the seeds and flowers from popping out of the ground. So the way that we're going to do that is you want to dig down one block, place a sticky piston in there, place a solid block on top, and then we want to place, sorry I didn't need to remove that one, we want to place underneath the piston a redstone torch, and that will mean that the piston is extended by default. I'm going to place redstone dust here, and this will be underneath pressure plate, and redstone dust here. Once that's done, you can just close it all back up, and as you can see, we now get our piston open and closing. And that's essentially the farm finished, guys. Now, if you wanted to hide all this wiring, you can obviously very easily hide that in the roof of a building. And also, another thing you can do just for looks is you can, wall in the farm like so. And I don't know, personal preference. Personally, I like the way it looks when it's all open. But I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and found it useful, guys. If you did, please feel free to show that like button some love because it helps me out more than you can imagine. I've been Static, and I will catch you guys next time. It's just a factory or farm for mass producing seeds and flowers and roses. Now I've had to redesign the farm for two reasons. The first is that in Minecraft 1.3.1 or 2, I think, the game, and the second change is that now even if you get grass and flowers to grow on a grass block, if you make the area pitch black, the grass and flowers don't instantly pop out of the ground anymore. They now wait. What's up, guys? Static here with another Minecraft tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build this god-awful looking contraption in front of me, which is the new version of my Smurf, playfully nicknamed the Smerfette. For those of you who aren't aware what a Smurf is, for Minecraft to either check the block and do like a random block update, or they wait until there's a block update nearby. So I could update these the grass and the flower by either flicking this lever, which would power this block, or as you can see, the game can. Or it was changed so that when you spam bone meal on grass block, if it's in pitch black or if it's not lit enough, grass and flowers will not grow. It used to be that you could still use bone meal on grass even though it was pitch black, and the grass and flowers would break out of the ground.